Okay, first and foremost, I want to give all honors and praises and glory belongeth to my Lord and Savior, whose name is Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Wahavaka Kwadash. Okay, that's the name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahawashi. And double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone that teach us truth well, and that continue to teach us truth well, and to the hopeful elect across the globe, and to the few, the very few brothers and sisters listening and also learning across the globe. This lesson is going to be named Covetousness and Jealousy Stems from a Lack of Self-Esteem. When you have no self-esteem, when you have no confidence, what does that lead to? You being covetous and jealous of what? Another man, what he's got. Okay? And this, I've got to bring out this lesson because this is something that you will notice in the truth, and you still got men still doing this. Still being covetous, still being bad mind. Okay? And in no way do I do lessons to be malicious. This lesson ain't to be malicious or nothing. Okay? So let's go to Corinthians 2. Remember, it's to edify and to warn the people of how not to be. Let's go to Corinthians 2. Because we're all supposed to be fighting for the same crown. So why would you be envious if you're fighting for the same crown? This is 1 Corinthians 2. And let's go straight to verse 12. For we dare not to make ourselves of the number, which is what, 144,000 elect. That's why we say hopeful elect. Or compare ourselves. And that's the problem. That's where envy comes. That's where jealousy comes. When you're comparing yourselves. That's where envy comes. That's where confusion comes. Ah, well, how comes this brother can do it this way and he can't do it that way? That's why it's called a body. So we dare not to make ourselves of that number. No, compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. What does commend mean? You're praising yourself. That's another form of insecurity. Because nobody's telling you good job. You're praising yourself. But they measuring themselves by themselves. I can do it this way. He can't do it that way. You know. How comes he can't do this? That's measuring yourselves by themselves. And comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. So if you've got that mentality, you're not wise. You still don't understand what this truth is about. This is not a popularity contest. Oh, he can bring it out this way. He can. Well, that's why you got 12 tribes. That's why it's called a body. Men come into this truth with ulterior motives, and it comes out they're insincere. Okay. Verse 13, but we will not boast of things without our measure, but according to the measure of the rule which the Most High have distributed to us. So who distributes the measure of faith? Who distributes the measure of talents? It's Yahawashi that does that. To reach even unto you. Okay. For we stretch not ourselves beyond our measure, as though we reach not unto you. For as we are come as far to you also in preaching the gospel of Mashiach, because Paul was traveling at this time, taking long journeys. Not boasting of things without our measure, that is of other men's labours. And that's another thing, you can't boast of another man's works. It's going to be your works that's going to save you, your faith. But having hope when your faith is increased. So how does your faith become increased? By working out your own salvation between you and Yahawashi. That we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly, to preach the gospel in regions beyond you, and not to boast in other men's line of things made ready to our hand. But he that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. So that's who we glory in, not ourselves. For not he that commendeth himself is approved, but whom the Lord commendeth. So it's about who the Lord commendeth, who the Lord praises. You don't commend ourselves. Oh, that was the look at that. Look at me bringing out these. It doesn't mean nothing. Especially if you're not brotherly. Especially if you don't have faith. If you're just doing this to compete with someone, then that means you're not sincere, and Yahawashi sees right through that. So these are all the traits of what? Envy, and we're not supposed to be that way. Let's quickly go to Ecclesiastes 14:8. Worry about yourself. That's what women do. Women have that mentality. That's the attribute of a woman. Envy, jealousy. That's what women do. All day long. Talk about this other person because it makes him feel better. Puts down this other person because it makes him feel better. That's a sign of a really weak individual. Okay? This is Ecclesiastes 14. And go straight to verse 8. The envious man have a wicked eye. Okay? Bad mind. Okay? Red eye, green eyed. Okay? He turneth away his face. Okay? And despiseth men. So a man that's envious of you, he's going to turn his face away. He doesn't want you to notice. Okay? And we'll quickly go into that word envy, Baba Kashar. First, can we just get it in the... We're going to get it in the Hebrew.
Strong's H, 7065.
Kana.
Kana.
To be envy, to be jealous. So them two words are basically, they're mixed in. Because it's basically the same thing. Envy and jealousy. Okay? To be jealous, to be envious, excite with jealous anger. Okay? To provoke. And it says in the Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon, of a woman. See, that's a trait of a woman. Okay? That's a trait. Us in this truth, you're not supposed to be like that. And if you were working on yourself, then guess what? You wouldn't need to do that. Because people that are jealous, they imitate you in every way or form. They act like you. And they even try to dress like you. It's like, bro, come on. Come on. The Lord's given you your spirit for you to be different in this truth. Because if everybody was the same, then guess what? It wouldn't be a body. It wouldn't be called the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, you got to stop that. So the envious man have a wicked eye, and he turneth away his face and despiseth men. Why? Because you're jealous, you're envious, you're bad mind. A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion. So if you give a man the truth, and this is really bad, here it is, a man's given the truth, but that's not enough for him, or he thinks it's not enough for him. So it says a covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion. So you have a man in the truth that he's been given his portion, but he's not using his portion, so he's looking at another man's portion. Oh, well, he's got more. How come he's got more? It's like you're cutting some pizza without no pepperoni, by the way, no pork. And I've got more slices. I've got 5 slices. You got 2 slices. You're looking at my slices. How comes I got more? Okay, see what I mean? So you're not satisfied with your portion. Your portion is your lot. So whatever Yahweh gives you, you got to be satisfied with that. Here it is. You're looking at what another man's been given. His blessings. And the iniquity of the wicked drive up his soul. That's going to dry up your soul. That's going to lead you what? To be what? Desolate. Okay, and destroyed. A wicked eye envieth his bread and is a niggard at his table. So these are the mannerisms of what? A niggard. And people that are envious and jealous, they're very stingy. They don't like to give. They like to take, but they don't like to give. And what's the bread? This word. So are you going to envy your own bread? So you're going to envy what Yahweh give to you? I don't think it's enough. I want more. Bro, you ungrateful little spoilt brats. My son, according to our ability, do good to thyself and give the Lord his due offering. So with what you've been given, you got to do good. You don't hold it to yourself. Okay. James 3:16. Baba Kashar, bear me just a minute. It's just this behavior, man. For where envy and strife is, there is confusion. That's how confusion comes about. Where envy and strife is. So if you envy a man, what are you going to be doing? Bringing forth confusion, bringing forth trouble, bringing forth rumors. Because that's people that are jealous of you. That's another thing they do. They hear rumor and they run with it because they're jealous of you. Okay. And there is confusion in every evil work. So basically, if you're a jealous and envious person, wherever any evil or wickedness is going on, you're going to be there, right in the middle of it. That's why it's always good to what? Focus on your relationship between you and Yahweh Shai. Obviously, if you see something ain't right, you speak on it. But I'm talking about in the form of envy. And we're going to quickly go into that word envy in the online etymology. Envy, jealousy, rivalry. So a man that's jealous of you, he sees you as a rival, a threat. From Latin, enviada. Enviada. Enviada in a Latin. From Spanish, enviada. From Portuguese, envidia. From envious, having hatred or ill will. So if you are an envious individual, you're going to have ill will towards your brother. And the scriptures say, love worketh no ill to his neighbor. You see how all these words link up with the scriptures? To envy, to hate. So that means, and the scriptures talk about, if you hate your brother, you're a murderer. Look at, with malice, cast an evil eye upon. From in upon. So you're looking in upon what this man has. Whether it be spiritual, whether it be physical. And you want to take that. You're willing to do anything. Jealousy is the malign feeling which is often had toward a rival. A possible rival. So you start forming cliques. And that's another thing you see in this truth. And what happens to men like that? They end up falling out and the spirit ends up being taken away from them. For the possession of that which one's greatly desire, as in love or ambition. Envy is a similar feeling toward one, whether rival or not, who already possesses that which we greatly desire. So the individual that you have envy or jealousy against, he has something that you don't have, and you're willing by any means necessary to take that. That's the spirit of Esau. That's why it says in John 8:44, ye of your father the devil, and the lust of your father will you do. He was a murderer from the beginning. Jealousy is enmity prompted by fear. Envy is enmity prompted by covetousness. So that's how these things come about, and it's a horrible spirit to have. Especially in this truth. That's the spirit of the world. That's the spirit of the world. This guy, he's got a Mercedes. Oh, forget that guy, man. You know. What's he got a Mercedes for, man? He thinks he's all that. Why is he dressed like that for? Why has he got Louis Vuitton? He thinks he's all that. Bro, he just might like Louis Vuitton. Why you hate him for? Why are you jealous for? Focus on yourself. See, and I know this. And you know this because if you grew up in the ghetto or the hood, even if you didn't grow up in the ghetto or hood, you experience these things. And it's the same spirit. Really, you ain't really put off the old man. That's what it really comes down to. Okay? There's examples in the scriptures why you should not be this way. Bear me just a minute. People that work on themselves as an individual to better themselves, they're not concerned. They're not concerned about other people in that way. Because they're working on themselves. People that haven't worked on themselves, they're the most insecure people that you would meet. Okay? Now this brother's worked hard. Now you want to take what he's worked for. That's a messed up spirit. Let's go to 1 John 3 and go to verse 12. Not as Cain, okay, who was the wicked. Start at 11. For this is the message that you have heard from the beginning, that you should love one another. That's your brother that's in the faith, that's doing the work, that's sincere, that believes. Not as Cain. And you know about the story of Cain. Okay. One of the first murderers, criminals, who was of that wicked one and slew his brother. Who did he slew? Abel. Why did he slew Abel? Go to Genesis 4 and 3 on down. Because what? He had a more acceptable sacrifice. So it's the same in this truth. The men that have the spirit of jealousy, envy. Why? Because they have the spirit of Cain. That's why Yahweh said, you of your father the devil. You do know the Pharisees were envious and covetous as well. A lot of them. and slew his brother. So he murdered his brother. Why did he murder his brother? And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil. It's because Cain's own works were evil. The Lord had no respect unto his offering. So men that works are evil, and they know they're being evil, and they're not doing anything to change that, they're going to be envious at you because you're striving for perfection. Not to say we don't mess up, but we're striving for perfection. And his brother's righteous. So what did that lead to? What did the envy and jealousy lead to? Him murdering his brother. That's why get rid of that spirit. Pray over it. This ain't a joke, because it leads to other things, and it shows. It comes out. It actually comes out. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death unto life, because this truth, the world's going to hate you. You're not going to be loved. It's because we love the brethren, and he that loved not his brother abideth in death. So if you don't love your brother, you're just abiding in death, ready to, and you're not in the truth. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know not that that murderer have no eternal life abiding in him. Hereby we perceive we love the Most High, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. And that's what a brother does. Okay? Lays down his life for the other brethren. That's why what we're out in, some of us are out in the highways and byways teaching, doing these sit downs. That's a form of love. That's a form of charity. So if you can't do that, you're not really a brother, are you? You're just a talker. Okay? You're just an envious man that's doing this for vainglory. Okay? Clout chasing like this is Facebook or Insta. Okay? Let's go to, bear me just a minute. You've been in the truth 5, 6 years, even longer, and you still got that spirit. You really need to check yourself. Bear me just a minute. It all goes back to a lack of self-esteem. Let's go to Proverbs 3 and 31, Baba Kasha. This is Proverbs 3 and 31. Envy now thou not the oppressor. Who's our oppressor? Esau. See, this is where it begins. This is where it begins. This is the root of it. Envy not the oppressor. So, if you're that individual that's trying to make it, that's why the spirit of the world don't love the world. If you're of this world, guess what? You're going to envy the oppressor, because you're going to be seeking the things that he has to offer you. Oh, an Audi. What? So what? It's just a car. It's just a car. You're not going to be taking none of these things with you. Okay? Envy no not the oppressor. You're talking about mansions, skyscrapers. So what? And choose none of his ways. Because as soon as you envy the oppressor, you're going to be moving the way the oppressor moves. And choose none of his ways. And what's some of these ways? Let's quickly go to Micah. This is what happens when you envy the oppressor. See, and this is where men fall short, because man can bring out a million scriptures, but man still doesn't know how to love his brother in the truth, still doesn't know how to conduct himself in the truth. Micah 2. Woe to them. Bear me just a minute. Let's go to what Micah 2 and 2. And they covet fields. Covet. Take. And this is speaking about the elite banking families. They're trillionaires. So hold on a minute. They're trillionaires, but they're still taking fields. What's that? That's covet. And take them by violence. Which is what? Murder. And houses, and take them away. And you've seen what they've done in different lands. Why? Because they're covetousness. So they oppress a man in his house, and a man and his heritage. So when it says, envy not the oppressor and choose none of his ways, if you have that mindset, you're going to be moving like Esau. Okay? That's why it's not good to be envious, jealous. Work on yourself. Use them talents. The scriptures tell you that in Matthew 25. And when you do that, Yahushua he can build upon you. Because now you're focusing on what Yahushua has given you. And not what he's given to another man. Okay? So with this lesson, I hope this was edifying. And until the next time, Shalom.